And I am a happy camper. Yay! I see feet and a nose. Hi, nose. How are you? Oh, I know it's hot. I'm sorry, sweetie. We're almost done in here. He's like, good thing, Mom, I was gonna melt. It's too hot in here today. He wanted to come with me, but I just kind of like, where am I gonna put him? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 dwarf plants and 2 Amanda oranges that are going to friends. And I have some husk cherries too. I need to plant my dill somewhere, but that's good otherwise. Yeah, I am happy. This is done. So we do have some leakage here, but that's okay because that has to do with pots overflowing. So I still have a couple pots here that are getting more water than I would prefer they do. And that's just kind of the imprecision of the equipment. But at least I don't have water spraying it all over the place anymore. So that's a major improvement. I think that's it. That was the big thing, is I had a couple of big ones squirting here. I think this one is doing okay over here now. I'm trying to decide if I need to increase the amount of time on this. And I think the answer is yes. I think I need to increase the amount of time on this just a little bit. This is not the heavy-duty kinds of equipment that you would find in a commercial greenhouse where you can meter exactly the number of gallons to the dime to different parts of your greenhouse. It's really meant for yards. It works in greenhouses, but it's less than precise. It gives you a pretty good ballpark, but sometimes that's not quite enough. So what I need to do is, that side is doing now okay. I'm going to increase the amount of minutes that this is getting. So I'll check that on here. Station 1, I'm going to give that 3 more minutes. And what I'm doing is I am now running this station 1, which is this one here. And I'm going to run it for 3 minutes to see how much more water my plants get from those 3 minutes. And see if that's enough additional time. I don't want to drown these guys, but I also don't want to dry them up. And I can see that this particular emitter here is not working worth a darn. That's not cool. There. That's interesting. It's always interesting. I pull off the emitter on this, and I should have a steady stream of water, and what I have is a drip. So that's a problem. So what I'm going to figure out is what's going on there. I'm not impressed with that, but it could be okay. It could just be the entire part of the system there. Let's check all the other ones, make sure that they're doing their job. What I'm looking for is a nice steady drip of water, or a little, something like a drip. Some of these are a little bit more like a little tiny stream, others are a little bit more like a drip, but I want it to be consistent. And just not seeing quite enough on some of these. That one's fine. That one's okay. This one down here is not okay. That one's good. That one's okay. me go around the back here so I can see. That one's okay. Yeah, that one's fine. That one's good. That one's good. That one's fine. That one just conked out, but I think it's okay because it's based on the amount of water in the base. It should be fine. This one seems okay too. Now, I got one emitter that's just not, that line is not working right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the entire line and I'm going to replace it on the theory that there's something somewhere in that connection that's not working right. So, I already pulled the emitter off and that was the first test. Is the emitter plugged? It should have immediately started to pour water out of this little tube, and it didn't. So, I am going to pull the entire piece of system. That is just not all that free-flowing. Okay. Interesting. Weird is the word that comes to mind. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to see if I have another one of the red emitters. I think I bought extra of those the last time I was shopping. Shop. Yep, I did. The reason I'm using an assortment of different colors is because I was trying to adjust the flow. As I said, these are not high precision components. They were designed for use in a garden that's a lot less precise than something fancy that you'd get in a gazillion-dollar greenhouse environment. So we now have a brand new, should work, emitter. I'm going to put that down in here. This plant is doing okay, but it could use a little bit more moisture than it's getting. So, let's see if this works. See, my goal is to get this really, really under control weeks before I need to go anywhere and leave this to someone else. Because, to be honest, most people don't know how to do this kind of stuff. They're not trained to do it. And it's not that they're dumb, it's just that they've never been trained, so, you know, how are you going to know unless you know? Okay, I'm going to do two things here. I'm going to pull off this emitter on the theory that it might. I've got a temporary tray here that's got seedlings in it. And I'm hoping to distribute those seedlings next week. Oh, come on. Will you come off or not? No, we're not going to come off. Of course not, because that would be too easy. Anyway, I am going to put a new connector to this one location. I'm going to cut a new piece of hose. So this is a completely clean piece of hose. Shouldn't have any calcium buildup, obstructions, you name it. None of that stuff. I need my pliers because my fingers don't want to get so mushed. There. Yeah, it just lets me push a lot harder on this without hurting my fingers. Because hurting my fingers is really not my good time. I can feel that this plastic is softening up from being in the hot greenhouse, and that is exactly what it is supposed to do. It makes it conform easier so that you can really cram the fittings together, because these are press fittings, and you can have the hoses relax in place. You're not springing around like a spring. All right. Now, there we go. It's crammed up in there good. Okay. Get these out of the way in case they spring a leak anywhere. I don't want to get water in everything. Let's see. All right. Keeping all the parts there so I don't lose anything. All right, let's check this just for another minute just to see how it's doing. Manual, push the button, go till it starts to give me numbers, push the button, station 1, that's it. Run it for 2 minutes. I find this particular system less intuitive than some of the older systems I have, but I've been doing it enough now that it is starting to make sense to me. So, all right. Oh, that's a much better flow. Yes. Nice, steady flow. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that's what it's supposed to be doing. That's what the other guys here are all doing. And this one was just not doing it. So, this tomato plant will be happy. Excellent. I have no idea why there was a problem with that. It could be that there's some sort of buildup in that tube that's feeding that. I don't know. Maybe there were some flaws in it in the initial manufacture that caused it to build up faster than the other ones. These tubes that were black here were used last year also, so they are not brand new. But usually where you have the problems is with the emitters. You know, those little guys at the end that actually keep dirt from getting in and control the amount of water that comes out. And yeah, for whatever reason, that one just wasn't working right. So that seems to be fixed also now. So we fixed the leaks here. We have fixed the, reduced slightly the amount of water here because most of these are overflowing. So that's not good. We don't want to do that. I'll have to see if I need to change any. See, I want to really fine tune this. I may need to change 1 or 2 of the emitters, but right now this is way stable in comparison to what it was. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Yeah, good stuff, good stuff. And yeah, this definitely worked right. What I should see is I should see that the plants that are at the bottom here will get a little bit of the drainage as it goes down, which is what's happening here. Getting a tiny bit of drainage there. But everything else up here is pretty much stopped dripping. And then there's just the last drop or 2 coming out of the longer hoses that come down. And that's fine. I'm going to try and be out here tomorrow to check again. I'll be watching the amount of water that's in the bottom of the trays, which is a really good clue if you can't always be there. Check to see how dry your plants are, and then check to see, you know, to see how much water is in the bottom of the tray. And if you have a ton of water in the bottom of the tray, see if you can adjust it. You don't want to drown the plants. If it's no water in the bottom of the tray and your plants are fine, leave it be. If it's no water in the bottom of the tray and your plants seem thirsty, then you need to be adding a little bit more. So I think this is going to solve the problem here. I will watch to see what happens, obviously, but it's a good march in the right direction. Let's put it that way. I'm busy cleaning up a few dead leaves. So we want it to look nice in addition to everything else. Yeah, good stuff. So be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell because obviously I have a ton to do. I still need to plant a whole stack of seeds that have not been planted yet. I haven't decided exactly how many of them I'm going to go for. I was hoping to get some more perennials started this year. I may plant them anyway, even if they're not going to get a bloom out of them this year and stuff like that, because not all perennials bloom the first year anyway. And perennials are kind of an investment in the future. You plant them now, you take care of them now, and in the future, they kind of take care of you. They do their thing without a lot of interference. Just a little bit of water and an occasional fertilizer. So, until next time, bye. And don't forget the brainstorm, because obviously I can actually cross something off my list. Actually, what I'll do is I'll unstar it. And that's a trick with my list thing. I'll have a star on it, which means it's a very high priority thing. When I complete it. Now, some things, it's like you could just take it off the list. Okay, you bought butter. You don't need any more butter. You take it off the list. In the case of like something like this, where it's a complex situation, where I actually need to monitor it, I'll leave it on the list, but I'll unstar it. And when I run down the list, I'll say, yes, I do need to check that today, but it's not something I have to do today. Does that make sense? Bye. I'm going to fly down here and see if I can catch Rufus being cute. He's underneath this table because it's way cooler under there in the shade. And I think you might be able to see there's fuzz here. See? There he is. Hey, Rufy. Rufy Doofus. Hi. I'm taking your picture. He says, oh no, I'm not ready for my cameo. I'm covered with dirt. Very silly. See? Happy plants. Happy plants. But this is what I mean about that one was getting way more water than this one was. So we're hoping to fix some of that. And this guy was not getting quite enough because he's really dry at the bottom and he was a little too dry where the plant is too. And that's a Haussinator tomato, so he's a big boy who's going to produce big tomatoes, so he needs lots of love. There's our tiara cabbage, which is, I think, pretty much ready. I don't think it's going to get any bigger, and I think we're probably going to harvest it. It's a decent size 2-person cabbage. That's a nice batch of coleslaw. Yay!